This should not exist. And if it does, then something is wrong with human history. Because according to everything we are taught, people at this time were barely surviving. Barely. No cities, no farming, no surplus food. And yet, they built this. Not a shelter, not a village, not something practical. They built the most complex structure on Earth at that time. And then, they erased it. That is not survival behavior. That is a choice. And choices like this change everything. Why build it? Why here? Why erase it? Göbekli Tepe, located in southeastern Turkey, radiocarbon dated to around 9,600 BCE. That date is not controversial. It is confirmed, repeatedly, across multiple samples. This site is older than the pyramids, older than Stonehenge, older than the first cities, older than civilization as we define it. And here is the problem. Göbekli Tepe was not built by farmers. No domesticated plants, no domesticated animals, no permanent housing, no storage facilities. The builders were hunter-gatherers, people who had to move, people who had to hunt, people who could not afford to waste energy, which means every single stone here was lifted by people living close to starvation. And yet, they did it. Here is the part most people ignore. This was not just stone. Each pillar weighs up to 20 tons. That stone had to be cut, shaped, transported, lifted by hand. No metal, no animals, no wheels. This took time, energy, calories. For hunter-gatherers, calories are life. Every hour spent here was an hour not spent hunting. Every day building stone was a day closer to starvation. This was not symbolic effort. This was physical risk, which makes the decision even harder to explain. There is an easy explanation, that the environment was rich, that food was everywhere, that survival was easy. Enough food, enough time, enough safety. If that were true, this would make sense, but it isn't. There are no large storage pits, no evidence of surplus, no infrastructure to support permanent populations. If food was abundant, why leave? Why not stay? Another explanation follows, that this was built slowly over generations without coordination. But the evidence disagrees. The pillars repeat the same proportions. The enclosures follow the same geometry. The symbols appear again and again. This is not random. This is not accidental. This is planning. And now, the easy answers are gone. Hunter-gatherer societies do not work like this. They're small, they're mobile, they do not accumulate labor. They do not spend decades building monuments that do not help them survive. And yet, Göbekli Tepe required hundreds of people working together over long periods of time, without farming, without cities, without leaders we can identify. This is not a small anomaly. This breaks the model. Because if this site exists, then belief came before agriculture. Meaning came before economy. Ideas came before survival systems. That is not how civilization is supposed to begin. And yet, here it is. This is why Göbekli Tepe makes archaeologists uncomfortable. Because if this site exists, then the old sequence is wrong. Not slightly wrong, completely wrong. Belief was not a byproduct of civilization. Belief was the engine. That means shared meaning organized people before economy did. And if that is true, then our models of how societies form are incomplete. Which is why this site is often described carefully, technically, quietly. Because rewriting origins is never simple. And then comes the detail that changes everything. Göbekli Tepe was buried, not destroyed, not damaged, not abandoned. Buried, carefully, deliberately, completely. The enclosures were filled with soil and stone. The pillars were left standing, intact. This was not a flood, no evidence of water damage. This was not an earthquake, nothing collapsed. This was not war, no signs of violence. This was effort, massive effort. For people living close to survival limits, this decision was expensive. Time spent burying stone was time not spent finding food. You do not do this unless something has gone very wrong. So what kind of decision leads people to erase the most important place they have ever built? Not ignorance. Belief. Belief can change. Belief can collapse. Symbols lose power. Sacred places become dangerous. And when that happens, logic no longer matters. Early humans were not stupid. They were not primitive. They were human. Göbekli Tepe shows us that civilization did not begin as a rational system. It began as a fragile experiment built on shared meaning. And when that meaning failed, everything built on it was buried. Archaeology can explain the stones. It still cannot explain the decision. And that should bother us, because it means the foundations of civilization were never stable. This is not just about the past. It is about patterns. Humans build systems around belief, religions, ideologies, institutions. When belief holds, systems grow. When belief collapses, systems do not fade. They are dismantled, sometimes carefully, sometimes deliberately. Göbekli Tepe shows that humans have always done this, long before nations, long before politics, which means this behavior is not modern, it is human.